Started streaming. Welcome to the Politics Show, episode 8. We're getting up there. We're almost to double digits.
Almost next year.
Almost next
We'll hit it next year.
True. Dang it. The house app is crashing on me. Let's see if I reload. Enter house. Okay, discover. Boom, I can see myself in the house mini app now. Dang it. The house app
Oh,
is
it's
on.
going.
There
It
it
says
is.
join waitlist.
Join
For
waitlist?
me, when you enter
What
the
does that
house,
mean?
please wait. Confirm. Share cast. Cast. Enter the house. Welcome to the house. No one's live right. Oh, there we go.
Yep. I think we're the only ones live right now.
We're just
And
the
I
two people watching.
keep crashing the mini app too. Dang it. But that's okay because I think I can crash the mini app as much as I want. It's the OBS is streaming. So the stream doesn't go down. Yeah, and I scheduled a live, and then when I went back in, I'm like, okay, so how do I like go live from that thing? All it had was go live again, like a separate thing. So on my profile, it still had. Anyway, we're a little early.
Yeah.
We're live and alive though. Oh yeah, I guess. How can I share this actually? Is there a share button?
Uh.
Separate thing. So on my profile. Okay. I can share my profile, which is where we're live from.
I don't know if you go. We're the only people there. So if you click.
Man, when I saw the cast from Dish and I got really excited. Oh, okay. I guess we have the. So if I click enter the house, I mean, I'm sure people will figure it out. And we got the recording. So I guess here, I'm going to cast this to Scum. We are live and live on Farhouse. Yeah, it's not called House yet. Also, how am I supposed to look at chat? I wonder, is there text chat?
Yeah, someone chatted in there already,
Oh,
and so that they're watching.
heck yeah. Welcome aboard, matey. Dang it. So you can read chat. I thought to myself, oh, this is a Spaces app. So I was surprised to see there was live streaming as well. But then it made me afraid, like, okay, can anyone just request to come up, or can I feature anybody?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Whenever I go in, I hear both of us, and that
Yeah.
drives me insane with the echo. So
We'll figure it out. Dang.
yeah,
But now I can't read chat. I wonder if I can mute. Nope, it crashed again. I wonder if I can mute Farhouse.
and that
Yeah.
drives me insane with the echo. So
Come on, let me mute. Let me mute. We'll figure it out. Dang.
yeah,
Come on. But now I can't mute. Read chat. I wonder if I can mute. Nope. If you guys could see this, okay, hold on. I'm putting it on the stream. I wonder if I can mute Farhouse. Oh, I don't even think OBS has the right thing right now. Okay.
and that drives me.
Watch me
with the
try
echo.
to
So
mute this. Come on, let me mute. Let me mute. We'll figure it out.
yeah,
Come on. But now I can't mute. Read chat. Oh, there it
yeah,
is.
just oh, there
it
you
is.
go.
There it is. I had to pause it. Okay, now I can read chat then at the same time. We're good. Oh man. It's fun trying new things, right?
always with yeah. I like that we keep testing out like new products get released. We jump on, test them
Yep.
out, and see how they work. How was
Ah,
your week been?
what's been going on with my week? Just work, man. I was barely casting, which is always sad, but ugh, lots of work. I've upped my hours at my IRL job, so doing a lot more of that. Um, gotta move out of this place, moving to another one in like a month or two. So planning that, we kind of decided on where we're gonna go yesterday. Dyed my hair last night. Got some ghost tips or ghost roots. Sorry, this is the
Ghost
opposite of
Roots.
tips. This is the roots. And yeah, so that was my week. How about yours?
Yeah, it was fine. I had a. I'm sure you can see this huge band-aid on the side of my face.
Yeah.
Wear sunscreen because if
Oh,
not, you can get skin cancer, and then they have to remove it. So if that
dang,
is the
big
one thing
operation.
that anyone takes away from this week in this call is to wear sunscreen. Um,
My mom has had a few of those
yeah, yeah.
operations.
So
Ugh.
that's pretty much been my week. Yeah, excited to be here. Excited to continue. Number 8 of the show. It feels like Farcaster is every so often we go through these like really big highs and then really big lows, and it feels like we're in this like low meta right now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so we'll still be here. We'll still be talking about politics, and hopefully in the next new kind of high time of Farcaster,
Yeah.
then we'll be ready and people will be jumping on.
Exactly. If you stick around long enough, you are going to outcompete so many other projects and creators out there. Like, that's what I kind of find the most hope for is all right, if I just be persistent and consistent and we just build through the bear market, right? When things are good again, where are they going to look for the highest trust that we're going to stick around? We know what we're doing. We continue what we're doing, whether it's high times or low times. That's kind of the trust we're building here with episode 8, almost double digits.
Yeah, Farcaster's a trip though.
Yeah.
Like the longer I've been here, the fewer followers I've had. like but it's all good.
The
At
more
least it's
real
just
people over time,
yeah,
though. Those were just bots.
yeah. So I know we have some channel
Some
updates, and I
stints.
want to spend a little bit time um, talking about politics, giving everyone kind of an update and uplifting posts that people have continued to cast into the politics channel. Um, Two quick reminders. One, we are still working to, we're going to get rid of Buster.
Yep.
We are going to kill Buster. We're going to be launching the politics token. I think some of the things that we've been thinking about, and I know you can speak a little bit more towards this, but we're going to be kind of following the Sky token model where we're
Yeah.
not going to be releasing as many tokens and then really like slowly distributing those tokens to
Right.
people who are really bought in to what we're
Mm-hmm.
trying to do. But yeah, would love for you. I know you're.
Oh, I'm
I've been
super
thinking
into
about
this
this
side.
more.
Yeah, so going kind of following the It's Basil model of he's talked a lot about really high vaults, low float, low release to the wide market wide, which releasing my token, I thought I was going high with like a 33% vault. But after experiencing crypto for so long, after being in the Farcaster space for so many years, you see these token models have great launches. They have a great few days to maybe a couple weeks of momentum and hype, and they consistently get drained completely out. It looks like an abject failure versus I think if we were to follow more of the venture capital way of growth where it's what product are you building for? How much runway do you need? Who's your demographic and users? I think a lot of people get stuck on, their traditional ways of doing tokenomics based on the way things have always been done. But let's look around the space. Is the way things are being done successful? Like, are we getting the products and the releases we're wanting? I would have to disagree. And so I think instead of trying the same crazy thing again and again, I think we should be the primary holders and distributors, but we shouldn't be the main extractors. We shouldn't be the biggest profiteers off of the token. I think as long as you can balance how you vault and treasure and distribute things to not favor a centralized core few, but you have a team that's dedicated and sustainably paid. I think that no one can disagree with. People that enjoy our content and enjoy our show want us to make a living doing this. But should it come at the expense of 90% extraction and profit only to us too? Absolutely not. That's not good, healthy growth. But having the discernment and the decision making power and letting other people into that process as well and distributing to those that stick around, that really utilize what we're building and engaging and paying attention, that's who we want to reward and distribute the supply to. And I don't think that should be happening over the course of a few days and a few weeks. I think it takes months, years of that kind of relationship building. And yeah, that's the difference between transactional and relational. Some people only want to think about number go up, I profit quickly. We are not that kind of community. We want constant and consistent engagement because we know the value that is produced over time when that kind of momentum builds exponentially.
Yeah, and I think that's a good strategy, and I think it'll also allow us to like start incentivizing people. I mean, we've had
Yeah,
like I know John Bolsung and some other people that work really closely with you that have been sharing clips, that have been doing a lot of like work
exactly.
on behalf of politics and the Politics Network. That I think like as we continue to grow, as we continue to iterate, once we get this new token, like we'll be able to
Yeah,
those are the people that are contributing are the ones that we're wanting to give tokens to. So we'll be doing that. We'll be kind of continuing with Cura. So if you're casting the Cura, if you're curating through Cura, like I think it will allow us to provide value back to the community that's really bought in.
right.
And I think kind of also speaking towards Buster, that I know like the chart went up for a second, went down, went back up for a second. Like I personally have not taken any profit from the Buster token. And if we're looking at who's
No.
lost the most, I guarantee you I've lost the most on
Yep.
Buster.
Yep.
So
I
with
think
us
I
like
traded
having,
Buster pretty well. I would be curious if I casted it. Well, one, Farcaster is working on their P&L, like all those kind of stuff. It has never accurately displayed any of my profits or losses. It exaggerates or hyperbolizes in either direction. But I can say from my pre-sale buy to all of my Cura claims, Buster's been pretty juicy for me. But
yeah, I mean, there's still like you can still claim Buster,
yeah,
sell it, hold it. Like
I
we
would
are
be
going to,
holding it for the
yeah,
relaunch personally. My strategy as a seasoned degen farmer around these parts, I think it's worth it to believe in something and make a big bet on that, especially if all that belief costs is your time and energy. So casting into the channel and getting those Cura claim for rewards and just holding it until you get the new politics launch. And hey, dump a whole big bag on us right on day one, but I would hold it for a long-term play.
yeah. So the launch that we're shooting for is January 6th.
Hmm.
I know with work schedules, like we'll see how
Yeah.
great that is going to be for timing wise, but we will be relaunching in January. We're thinking that's going to be a better time.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get out of
The
kind of
holiday
this lull,
season
the
rut.
holiday
Yeah.
season. And who knows, maybe like I know there's been tons of pushback on Dang and like the big shift to kind of going with the trading wallet and kind
Hmm.
of the emphasis on trading. But if it can bring in additional like daily users,
Yep.
like the next step in that is that like you come here for the trading, you come in
Hmm.
for the intel, and then the community is going to be there
Exactly.
that is going to keep you. And I continue to think like that is where we can provide value into the system. Like there's 1,000 different wallets. Like who
Yeah.
cares
Yeah.
which wallet you use? I mean,
Yeah.
I have I think 5 different wallets right now already. And but like I keep coming back to Farcaster because I have the community. I have people that I
Exactly.
have known now 2, 3 years
Yeah.
and like the conversations that we can have. So that's what we're at least that's why I'm personally hoping.
Hmm.
Who knows if Farcaster is successful, but
Eh,
if not, then neither are we.
yep.
But
And we
and
can
I
be
mean
a big
base
part
too,
of
we'll
that
see.
success, though. I would say because Farcaster is still social. So I think everyone crying and complaining, saying, like, oh my gosh, Farcaster is turning into a wallet. It's like, guys, it's not turning into a wallet. It's just adding wallet features and trying to attract more wallet users. So some people that only understand crypto via using a wallet application, okay, there's lots more of those people that we can bring into the Farcaster protocol. We're very early growth stages, so they're kind of hungry for any kind of new users and new activities because hey, this is a capitalist corporation. They got deadlines. They got to show improved growth to their investors. So I can understand the short term play. We're not losing any social aspects, in my opinion. I think are they deprioritized for update and kind of additional features? Yeah, probably. But if we're here for a long time and the hard grind, then we'll stick around through this wallet phase of Farcaster. And I think this is why I'm so bullish on our relaunch of the token because now people can kind of understand okay, politics token, this is associated with politics channel, and they can either see the token grow in their wallet, they can speculate it on a little bit, and then that might be the entry, their foray into the actual community. I don't think when it's just the Buster token that anyone's going to be able to make that association. So that's kind of the biggest reason why is for the rebranding aspect, but we're going to improve a lot of things beyond that. So that's kind of the best justification I think in my mind for changing the token and getting to use Clanker. And I think with Farcaster acquiring them, us being one of those core Farcaster channel communities, it all just makes everything make more sense.
Yeah. Mistakes were made in a channel I control.
Experimentations were
Yeah.
had. Okay, we learned a
Yeah.
lot, we did a lot. Now it's time to iterate and improve upon things.
Yeah, exactly. Which kind of leads to that we're going to continue kind of building on Polycast. It's been pretty slow. Like we haven't been promoting it in this transition. We're just trying to kind of let the Buster token die away, and then we can start kind of actually uplifting and like posting more political questions. And I think with Polycast, it has like the opportunity that we have is that we can fully niche down
Yeah.
and build this kind of community engagement around kind of political questions that you won't see on Polymarket, you won't see in
Yeah.
Kalshi. Like that is the strategy that we're thinking, and in a very similar vein that like Bracky is doing. Like they're
Right.
going very
Right.
hard on sports. They're not doing politics questions. They're not doing all of these other questions because they
Yeah.
want to have that community kind of feel
Exactly.
and engagement. So that's what we're trying to do. I actually really liked, I think I uplifted your cast that you
Yeah.
posted about kind of Polycast versus the other prediction markets and like why I go back and forth. Like I
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think it's like how much I want to like personally I am not supportive. Like I think gambling does provide a net harm
Mm-hmm.
to individuals. I am also realistic that it is not going away.
No.
And especially with as people become more and more financially unstable and they may or may not be able to pay their rent one week or be able to afford
Mm-hmm.
food one week,
Mm-hmm.
people make irrational bets
Yeah.
when they can't afford to make things. So I like
Yeah.
if I'm projecting 5, 10 years, like as much as any individual may hate seeing gambling right now,
Yeah.
it is going to get
Yeah.
so much more mainstream. I mean, we've already seen like
Yep.
Xiang is partnering with
Yep. Kalshi.
prediction markets. Like it's gonna be everywhere.
Yeah.
It's the new meta. I'm sorry, but like
Now, how can
we're
we make
joining that
those healthier?
meta. So
How
yeah,
can
I
we
like
harm reduce?
your post about it.
Yeah. So my whole thing is harm reduction. Who's benefiting, who's profiting, and how much, and then where are you directing and distributing those profits? I think that question is much more comfortably explained or answered by the Politics Network and our community. What the goal is, it's not to make CNN shareholders richer. It's not to enrich Kalshi or Polymarket or even obtain shareholders like that. That's the benefit of being a tokenized community. Then I kind of go into in this cast how I like to analogize what I believe crypto should be when we talk about like social finance is it's like a Chuck E. Cheese that you go into and there's all these different games and no, you're not getting one token that interacts with all the games, but you have this reciprocated relationship where as I give value to it, and that can be in forms of financial swaps. So I give you money, you give me token, I can do things with that token, or I do things and I earn that token. So as long as there's that reciprocal type flow, then you are a token, you're not a cryptocurrency or a coin. I think tokens are great, as we've seen in real life, for localized communities. And we know these exist digitally online because that's where all basically time is spent trying to socialize now these days. So instead of thinking of the IRL just little village and them having their own local currency, I like thinking about these digitally localized towns that are kind of a meta game where there's all these different kind of interactions and value production, and those can give us productive signals. There's the signal of the prediction market betting, people putting skin behind their beliefs, not just trying to gamble. Let's put them to the side. There are external people, externalized factors of people that they see odds, they see numbers, and then they just throw money at it. All right, we aren't going to encourage or try to maximize for obtaining those kind of players. The benefit is, hey, the whole community can profit off of a very harmful behavior, but it's at least not just getting sucked up all the way to the top. There's a community growth element to what happens when Polycast succeeds. Politics Network gets to grow and do more fun and engaging things. But if you can earn and then spend, because I can kind of think about, all right, I'm struggling with my gambling addiction and it's really hard for me to exercise any discipline. Okay, well, if I can at least try to take the one step of, all right, I'm not going to spend any money. I'm just going to cast into Politics Channel and earn the token, and that's my budget. If I have to gamble, well, at least it's within a budget of something that you've just committed time and energy that you would have already somewhere else, right? But Twitter's not going to pay you like that. Instagram threads isn't going to pay you like that. And they're not going to pay you so specifically and to with this digitally meaningful localized currency that you earned by building community. That's where, yeah, that's kind of the summarization of my thoughts on that.
Yeah, and I think like it's free to cast. Like
Right.
you won't like we did have the closed channel model, and I think like as Farcaster has shifted,
Yeah.
it's changed a lot of my thinking of like politics is just a hashtag
Mm-hmm.
essentially.
Yeah.
But if you use that hashtag and if you cast into the channel, if you cast a value, then you get the politics token.
Yeah.
If you want to use it to
Great.
bet on polycast questions, you can do it. If you want to sell it, you can do that. There's not really kind of, I mean, once you get it, you can decide how you want to utilize it. But on top of that, I know that we are in agreement that like our mission is to continue to like build up the politics community and
Mm-hmm.
kind of build this grassroots network that's really engaged regardless of your political kind of
Yeah.
party, like who you support, which policies you support, and engaging in polycast will allow us to continue to develop like have more generate more fees, which then we can
Yep.
do more pixelating it happening, and then you
Yep.
can do more engagement. And it's kind of, as you mentioned, this like flywheel of
Exactly.
like we are hoping to build this like very robust community that is ready and able to create change within, I mean, we're largely focused in the United States, but like
Yeah.
within your own community and give you the skills to do that.
Yeah.
And having some tokenized like having a token allows us to just continue to do that, bring more people into that community. I mean, we definitely need people to support it financially.
Yeah.
If the token just goes straight to zero, it doesn't allow us to do that.
Exactly.
But we're hoping that within all these different kind of avenues we're taking, we're providing enough value that you feel like that you want to support. And
Exactly.
maybe we don't 10x next week, but we are continuing to like build this grassroots network that I think is really missing.
Yeah.
And
From
I'm hoping that we can
all of the
grow
online
together.
spaces, really. I wouldn't say there is anywhere that is grassroots and nonpartisan. I would say once you become grassroots, you're gonna niche down to whatever ideology you most align with or identify as the best grifting opportunity, I would say, for a lot of online communities versus, hey, we know what politics is, we know how it happens. Let's create that better discourse online because it's missing everywhere. There's just echo chambers and rage bait. How do we create something different? And I think that's worth in putting your money behind your mouth and wanting that for yourself. Because if you're Republican, if you're Democrat, if you're Libertarian, if you're communist, democratic, socialist, whatever, you need somewhere to reach the other people. You do not, it is not advantageous for you and your growth to only be interacting with other DSA members, with other libertarians. This is where you can kind of, all right, learn, kind of get indoctrinated and initiated into how the politics channel works. If you try to kind of do what works on X or what works on threads, rage baiting or just signaling to people in your who already believe what you believe, well, then we're just not going to be that interested in it. I would say Farcaster has that unique blend of being able to reach across. It is a special kind of place, I think, as far as social media goes. Blue Sky almost had it in the early days, but then once they had that big blow up, it firmly got put into the leftist camp. Farcaster has a unique tolerance and a unique pluralist type perspective where I think almost because of how speculative their brains are, they're like, well, I know we need all the users. We need everyone over here so they're a little bit more open-minded and tolerant and better at engaging with people that don't believe what they believe. So
I think there's
let's
also a fact that I have a general like sense that a lot of people who are engaged in crypto, and I think this is just like like how crypto began, is that a lot of us are disenfranchised. Like we have
right.
seen that neither party or that
True.
politicians don't always represent us, and it allows us, I think, just questioning monetary policy
Yeah.
and like having that individual like critical thinking moment allows you to continue to think critically and question kind of everything else that's been going on in society. And I think the other thing that I'm really excited about that we're continuing to build is that we keep seeing like education is so
Mm,
low
yeah.
in this country, and we don't have people turning out to vote. We don't
Yeah.
People vote at the top ticket and then don't vote down ballot. And I think where I've seen a big lack in like political podcasts or just kind of generally in our political system is this de-emphasis on how you can get engaged
Mm,
in politics and kind of go deeper at kind of the activist level.
right.
So I think I'm hoping that we can get there. And I know we've been on this soapbox a few times and kind of continue to emphasize it, but that's what we're trying to build together. But yeah, you want to switch over and we can talk a little bit about politics, about actual politics that's been happening.
Let's do it. All right, so some Venezuela developments. You wouldn't steal a full-size Venezuelan oil tanker. Damn,
I love this.
that goes
Like,
hard.
if you don't know what this reference is, then
Uh,
you're probably a Gen Z.
yeah, you would. Oh, dang. So I guess I'm just old enough to have gotten this reference because yeah, you kind of had to be DVD days or yeah, no, early internet and
Yeah.
DVD. Yeah,
LimeWire, like if
yeah,
you didn't
yeah.
pirate any music as a child,
Yep.
then
If you didn't download some very sketchy viruses
yeah.
onto your family computer, you didn't really have a great childhood.
Yeah. But I know there's a few casts, so let's just like go through all the Venezuela casts and then
Did not expect her to break from the administration's narrative. I guess even a broken clock is right twice a day. Laura Loomer on boat strikes. Fentanyl isn't being manufactured in Venezuela. Breaking news. That's not where it's coming from. And yeah, it seems like they were just happy to get some free oil. Or let actually thinking about it though, do you think the amount of oil on that tanker is anywhere in the profitability range? Like if we think of the US government as like a piracy operation, right? They spent how much on those helicopters and on those aircraft carriers to be where they were to intercept this oil tanker? Like I don't think you're in the green. I think you're firmly in the red and you're just recklessly spending.
I mean, but I think the question's like who, like you're at the government is in the red, but like who is in the green,
That's
which
true.
is
Yeah,
just like all of our defense contractors
that's right.
who just profit off
That's
of
right.
every single one of these actions.
That's right.
And if you're just like, there, our government, like, there's no actual red in our government. Like, we
Fair.
don't need to profit as Americans. It's just a shifting of goods and resources. And this is
To
just
the
like,
benefit of whom is
yeah.
always the question.
So this will benefit people who benefit from war. So
Yeah.
what I think we have one more,
Let's
which is thought
see.
crime.
Turns out the cocaine these men were murdered over wasn't even going to the United States. It was en route to Suriname to then go to Europe or Africa. I hadn't heard of Suriname before. Apparently, it's 90% rainforest and the only independent country outside Europe that uses the Dutch language. The latest insane justification for shooting the survivors of the first attack was that they might have been able to recover some of the cocaine from the wreckage and continue on with it. They're just swimming on like bags of cocaine to Suriname. They're like, no, I got to make my quota, brother. No,
Just the Titanic rose
exactly.
on the pile of cocaine.
Just paddling with the wreckage of their boat. I think they were too busy trying not to drown to do that. Citing an NBC report, Welker noted that Bradley told the lawmakers the drugs were heading first to Suriname, i.e. away from the United States, and then ultimately to Europe or Africa. She wondered how a boat that's not heading to the United States could reasonably be viewed as an imminent threat to this country. Every single post and new report that comes out about these strikes really does have me going like, can they get away with it this time? Like, will Pete Hegseth, will they just do a sacrificial lamb, like just offer up Pete Hegseth? He does some cushy few years in the same prison Ghislaine Maxwell's in, right? And then gets early release or a pardon 3 years from now, whatever.
No one's going to jail for any of this.
Really? You think
yeah.
nothing's coming up? Like, okay, maybe not these 4 years, but like, isn't it a big enough deal for whoever blue Democrat, whoever president after Trump to bring up a trial for these? Like, I can't see it not happening at this point.
No, I mean, this is a little off topic, but I think Trump is going to do a full pardon in a very similar vein to what Biden did. Anything what Biden did
this
for his son. So anything like between these 10 years or 4 years, any crimes committed, like past or future, get pardoned. And I don't think we're ever going to hold any of these people accountable. But on top of that, I don't know, I didn't include a cast that I made yesterday, but Chuck Schumer was recently asked about the potential Venezuela war and if he was against it, and he just deferred, didn't say anything. And it's just so evident that both parties are more than willing to go after any war just for the sake of it's good for their donors.
Right.
And I don't anticipate, I don't think we're going to see boots on the ground. I mean, who knows?
No.
But
it would be Trumpian in character to push the boundary further than it's even necessary. Like, you should be satisfied and content with the massive levels of power you can exert just on air, just with drone strikes alone and special forces operations. But it would be in Trump's character to want tanks rolling through the streets to declare actual war. Maybe not even do through the Congress a declaration of war, but it's the Department of War now. Like, he's not going to try to do at least one new war. Like, I kind of doubt it.
Yeah, I have no idea. But also noting that there is a Polycast question on this. If there's going to be a strike, it goes through, I think, February, but with us switching the coin, we're going to close that. So essentially, if you either this is going to close as yes, or you're going to get a refund. So not financial advice, but
probably
you might as well just be betting yes, and then
might as well try.
If not, you're going to get a refund.
Yeah.
But
do we have another question about them getting indicted for war crimes or murder?
No.
So maybe that would be a fun January 6th opening question to add, would be, because I think if we resolve it to yes, we should absolutely do. Now the secondary question to ask is, will any of the people involved, even I wonder if you could have a separate one for the admiral or the general of the region that retired, like, didn't he do some operations before he left? So I would be lots of interesting questions to pontificate, but we'll wait until January 6th. Yeah. Insurrection Day.
What do we have next?
From Ammon Phantom. Just gonna make sure I curate all these this time, actually. Beam. You know, if you got curated, that we were watching you live. Eileen Higgins has been elected as Miami's newest mayor, becoming the first Democrat to win the seat in 30 years. I was just hearing about this news. So, what do you know about Eileen Higgins?
Not much.
I know
I
you.
haven't. I wasn't paying too closely like to this election, but I think someone shared in the channel that Cuban Americans like
Mm-hmm.
significantly shifted towards a Democrat this year, and or for this election. And I think we have what's the next post that we have that we're
Dems
highlighting?
chipping away at the GOP seat lead. So, yeah, you got
Yeah, and then
as
Eric
defeated.
Gisler also won in a special election that prior the seat he lost the seat by 22 points. I think that like we are just seeing that the Trump administration is not fixing the economy.
Mm-hmm.
They rang on the economy. He said that he would fix it within a day. And
Mm-hmm.
either right now he is going and doing interviews where he's saying that the economy is A plus 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 plus
Yep.
plus plus, which if you are if you're struggling to afford to
Yeah.
live right now, like
What a slap in the face.
I think
Yeah.
I saw like Bernie Sanders say like he would hate to see what a C or a D would be. I mean, a
True.
C would be like a revolution.
Yeah.
Like, there's no
Yeah.
way that we could be like if this is
Destitution.
an A plus.
Yeah.
But it's kind of speaks to what Trump is looking at. That he's just looking at the stock market,
Yeah.
and if you are in the stock market, if you are seeing these net gains that maybe your bubble based off of like AI
Mm-hmm.
speculation,
Right.
it's not actually addressing the core concerns that Americans have. And we're seeing this. I mean, the writing is on the wall. I casted earlier today that one of uh, a Republican. I can't. You have to pull up my cast, but
Is it
there's just lots of Republicans that are really kind of coming out and emphasizing that they think they're going to be losing. It's not this cast; it's another one.
oh,
But
is it a different one?
yeah, you're all good.
Forgot
But
what
what's
I
your
was gonna
thoughts
I forgot
on
what I
this
was gonna
movement?
add. Your brain fart infected me
Yeah.
now. Dang it, dang it, dang it. What was I saying? Trump, affordability. Oh, that brings up, so one, everyone already knows that the stock market improving does not necessarily equate to my conditions improving. That's just a lot of rich people getting a lot richer. What is the stat? I think 1%, the top 1% owners of stocks own something like 60% of the available stocks, and then the top 10% own 90% of the stock market. So that's not following a very Prater friendly distribution model, guys. That is really, really, and that is really high levels of concentration. And this kind of loops back into what I got clipped for when we were on Den Dot Show last week. Is that's that's why we're entering into this feudalism level territory. It was true that capitalism created more wealth distribution and created more value and raised the living standards for a whole lot of people for many generations, for hundreds of years. That is starting to be untrue. We, as you said last week, we are going to be some of the first generations where our conditions have not improved compared to our parents or grandparents. That is this constant, and that brings up, so stock market is uncorrelated to your living conditions, and GDP doesn't freaking matter if all that profit, if all that wealth is just held and made by the few. Whether you're
Yeah, I think
Republican or Democrat, your constituents are not the few. Your constituents are all the working class people that vote for you, and they are not feeling those improvements. everyone in the room with Donald Trump is feeling the improvements of his legislations. They are reaping gloriously, but
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
think
how long
to
they
your
can
point, like
sustain.
62% of US adults own stocks. So the other 38% like have no skin in this game. Like
Yeah.
they cannot afford to own anything.
And
And
what
then
that
like what you said, it's very
60% owns
concentrated
is
at the top.
nominal compared to how much of the stock market is owned by the top, is what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think even like when we think about the stock market, like yes, it keeps up with inflation, but it's barely even keeping up with what we've been seeing with inflation. And so yeah, you can put whatever extra income you have into your 401k or into the
Or your
S&P
401
500 or
pre-K
like
now.
yeah, like any of those, but you're not really like we're not seeing significant gains when you're adjusting towards the changing inflation.
Right.
I also kind of thinking to your comment, I met one of my friends for lunch last week, and we were talking about at least we're not as bad as what it was in the Middle Ages or like with serfdom. And if you actually look at what it was like with serfdoms, they actually had way more paid days off than
Yeah.
what we
Oh yeah.
ever
And their
could
actual
dream of
working
having.
hours were like, we love to think, oh, life was so hard, so difficult back then. And yes, naturally, because they didn't have the same technology of housing and plumbing, all that stuff sucked. Okay. But a lot of anthropologists and sociologists have done their research, reading the journals of these peasant farmers. Dude, they were working like 4 to 5 hours a day max. They would work a couple hours in the morning, take a fat nap, and then maybe work a little bit more in the afternoon. And that was also seasonal. So you also had very long times of just doing whatever you wanted to do, any kind of chores or housework or hobby you wanted. We are way over exploited, and the wages we are being paid has not kept up with inflation whatsoever. None of the poverty metrics are accurate anymore. I think I saw it said if minimum income stuck with inflation when it was implemented, you would be getting paid $144,000 a year. So why is $28,000 the real minimum? Or like, what, it's in the 20s. That's $120,000 being thefted out of your income, and that took no taxation at all. It's just inflation. It's the silent killer.
Yeah, I looked it up. Medieval peasants only worked around 150 days a year to 200 days a year, which signed me up for that.
Sign me. Hey, I'll take the peasant life if it means I get almost half the year to myself. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, if only more than half the year. That's so I spend less than 50% of my year working.
Yeah, that's dreams.
Goals. All right, guys. Who wants to join our fiefdom? Lord Javaboo and Captain Scumlord Degen Communist. All right, from you, I like this proposal and think it would be a net gain for Americans. If you read the story, you'll see that there was lots of pushback against it because it isn't fixing X other problem. This type of pushback annoys me. The administration said $1 billion in funding will go towards creating more children's play or exercise areas, adding mothers' rooms or nursing pods, reconfiguring security checkpoints to include family screening lanes. Okay, that's kind of nice. And building sensory rooms for children with special needs, along with other creative terminal projects that focus on enhancing the family travel journey. So this is all going to be for like airports? Yeah, airport
Yeah,
planning.
it's really focused on airports. And I think two things. One, if you watch the press conference where you just see his all of like Sean Duffy and Like they just did a pull-up competition, which like I don't know why the Trump administration has to do like the most things
No, they're
ever
so
with
bra
every
coded.
single with every single announcement. So obviously, like they just did that. It got tons of pushback. Like Kennedy was doing pull-ups in his jeans because he just works out in jeans all the time. That being said, and this is kind of a soapbox that I kind of teased with this cast, that I hate, and this is one of my biggest pet peeves working in advocacy, working in politics, is that the way that we move progress and make progress in this nation is that you need to make small wins. And
Right.
you need to make those small wins to then build on to bigger wins. And I definitely like agree that we need to hire and kind of do a better job of like fixing the issues with delays, and that we need to like there's so many issues with our like current flight system.
Right.
But when, at least in my opinion, like when any politician takes like does something that like this would be a net gain for families, in my opinion. If
100%.
there's ways that people can, if there's like playgrounds or ways that we can like offer more opportunities for individuals to like burn off calories,
Yeah.
it will have a net positive effect.
Yeah.
And then it's always met, and I think often it's met by the opposing party, but it's met with this, oh, well, you should have done X, Y, or Z.
Mm-hmm.
And in so long of working in politics, like our politicians could fund so many things. We have enough funding to fully do paid family leave. We have
Mm.
enough funding to fully fix our childcare industry. We have enough funding to fix all of our problems, but there's just not
There's no
the
will.
willpower to actually do it. And when we do see these like small movements where they are using funding, there is a net gain. I think, at least in my opinion, we should be saying like this is great. Let's continue to build on it by continuing to make investments so that we can limit delays.
Right.
Or, and like in another instance, there's a lot of states have been doing a lot of work to expand paid family medical leave. And in a lot of conservative states, the way or the mechanism that they're doing that is they are first expanding that program for those supports to state administrators, to individuals that work within the state.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a teacher, you get it. If you work for a private company, you don't receive that benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And nationally, there's a lot of experts that get mad and say, oh, this isn't the right way to do it. You shouldn't go this route and get the win first because you're not helping enough people. But what we see is that when you make that small win, when you provide paid leave for public employees, then
Mm-hmm.
there starts, I mean, this comes back to kind of the free
Yeah.
market.
Yeah. The
Then you start
competition is
seeing
on now.
private employees having to
Yep.
also offer paid leave. And then it
Exactly.
becomes more and more normalized. But if you just kill good ideas, and
Right.
this might not be the best idea, they're
Right.
like the best example, but it's just, I get so frustrated that whenever something good happens, we can't accept it and just say like, good job, you really did
Mm-hmm.
one thing for the American people. And I think like in the same way, like the big beautiful bill was a disaster for numerous different things, but it did increase the child tax credit. It did tie a lot of things towards inflation. It increased the amount that you can receive as a payment from from a company without having to report on your taxes. I think it went from $600 to $1,000 a year, and now it's
Mm-hmm.
tied towards inflation. Like those are good
Yeah.
things, and those are things that could get built on. But if you just
Yeah.
reject
Write off
everything because the
everything.
opposing party did it,
Yeah.
then they're not going to want to do the next level of it
Right.
because they did something small and you just said like you didn't do enough
Yep. It's never
or you didn't
enough.
do it the right way.
And
So I don't know what your thoughts are.
well, I agreeing with you that if any small win is still a win. I hate the idea that we shut down, that you have to get everything you want or you can't get anything. That feels obstructionist as well. That feels like you're an obstacle to progress, no matter how, you know, how much more virtuous you signal to what the real solutions are. I can kind of insidiously believe that, well, you don't vote for these things because you're holding out for something better, but this is still better. It is still somewhat of an, there might, you know, especially with Big Beautiful Bill, there's going to be lots and lots of trade-offs, which that's one thing I wish we could fix in our bureaucratic processes is, okay, if you're going to make a bill and we're going to pass something, one, we got to be able to read this and actually study it before it gets to vote. And two, you can't make it such a wide array of issues and slip in other things and have so much trade-off and kind of deal making between districts happening so that you can secure a vote or whatever. I think those all need to be independently kind of legislated versus they try to, oh, I guess for efficiency. I'm very curious about the process. I'm not that, I hate it so much. I don't educate myself as much as I would want to, because I know I'm going to get irritated by the bureaucratic nonsense of it all, and I like to imagine better ways of governing. But why can't we get things just topically focused? Why can't things just be what they say they are? It has to be this really banal name that is unseeming, or, you know, just viral catchiness to it, and then the content of it is just this huge amount of who knows how wide and diverse of topics it'll
Yeah.
transcend.
Yeah, all the pork that gets filled.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the Big Beautiful Bill that did one thing and then had like 15 different provisions, or I mean, way more than 15 different
Yeah.
laws inside of it. I think it's just a symptom of the broken
Yeah.
bureaucracy that we have. And I always hear a lot of people kind of emphasize like you need to read the bill.
Mhm.
And yeah, I definitely think like it would be ideal if people actually read the legislation that they voted on, but that's so disconnected from how laws actually get passed in our
Right.
country. Laws get passed by your party coming to you and saying you're a yes vote on this bill. And you're a
Ooh.
yes vote on the bill. And so it doesn't, in my view, it doesn't even matter if people actually read the bill. They're going to vote yes, even if they hate 10 different provisions in it, they'll still do whatever the party says and asks them to do. I mean, you'll have there's a few outliers to that. A lot of them are now leaving Congress because when you're an outlier, the party doesn't like you and then they
Mm.
make your life miserable. But I just don't, yeah, read the bill, don't read the bill. I think it's more of a symptom of like the larger problem is that our
Yeah.
parties determine everything that gets passed. And if you don't get the party to actually support it, it's not going to move
Yeah, it's
forward.
not gonna do nothing. All right, got a few more, and we'll just kind of try to bum rush through a bunch.
Yeah.
It does not make sense for people to lose their civil rights based on certain criminal convictions, felonies. The government has made so many laws that we're all felons if they want. If someone is too dangerous to own a weapon, why are we letting them roam the streets? Keep dangerous people in prison and restore the Bill of Rights for everyone. Now, I'll actually go a step further than him. It is important that you still have civil rights for prisoners. I think when you take away their voting rights, their living conditions can just worsen and worsen, and they don't matter. They have no political advocacy. They're at the generosity and charity of, I guess, their family and community, if they have that outside of the prison system. But that's what we've seen deteriorate more and more over time. And when you do let these prisoners vote, then they'll vote in favor of improving their conditions. They're not going to leave prison, but hey, prison doesn't have to have the worst food imaginable. It does not need to have the most infectious diseases spreading at asinine rates. Your shelter should not be like in Arizona. You shouldn't go to sleep at night and have to wrap yourself head to toe in whatever you can find, because as soon as the lights turn off, you've got roaches crawling all up and down you, and you can't even fall asleep because you're feeling all these little legs going around. Like, we should not be doing that to people, and it shouldn't be at the behest of all of us volunteering our time outside of prison. It should be it should be within the power of people in prison to, hey, ask and negotiate for their own advocacy.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree that we should continue. Like, if you are in prison, you shouldn't lose your voting rights.
No.
And I also think like this post is a good emphasis. Like, I mean, it's very like, I think it's thinking about gun ownership rights.
Right.
But when you leave prison, one, I think general assumption is that you did the crime, you served the time. You served the
Mm-hmm.
time, you
Mm-hmm.
paid back to society
True.
whatever we held against you. And then you leave, you can't qualify for SNAP, you can't qualify for housing benefits, you can't qualify for anything. You get completely cut off
Yeah.
from society at large. So
And that's your
reintegration is
recidivism rate.
very hard. Yeah, and then recidivism rates go through the
Sky,
roof.
that's why America's so detrimental at that. We don't we're so obviously not trying to rehabilitate anyone, because those recidivism rates have only shot up year over year.
Yeah. And I think like if you get released and we still treat you as a criminal,
Mm-hmm.
then we just need to rethink it and say, actually, no, you're just going to stay
Right.
in jail
Right.
forever, because society will never forgive you
Which,
for
yeah,
whatever crime you did.
yeah,
And it just feels like there's such a big disconnect
yeah.
between those two things.
It's almost like privatizing their poverty after their imprisonment, because I can imagine there's a whole lot of profitable complexes outside the prison system that get to benefit from these guys never getting their foot back in the door with society when they're excommunicated from all of these opportunities and they can't exist. They're most likely homeless, and people who don't want to be homeless but have no other opportunities, well, yeah, you're going to take whatever risky criminal opportunity comes your way just to alleviate your conditions as much as you can. You're going to do whatever is necessary, and they know this. It is not a confusing problem or issue for them. They're just not interested in a genuine solution. They would rather them exist on the outskirts of society, outside of the prison, and then, oh, they come back into the prison, we make some dollars. Oh, they're outside the prison, well, we can make this. They're very dependable in their behavior, and that dependable behavior that society hates, they're afraid of, they're fearful of these externalized factors, then they're just going to pay and vote for whatever solution that is sold to them. And they're never going to be real solutions. They're just going to be more directing the value flow towards themselves and trying to exacerbate the problem, frankly, like we have with all these ICE raids. That is all because the prison industrial complex wasn't seeing the profits that it wanted to. It was getting outlawed, and a lot of their profits were hurting in a bunch of states. And where did GeoCore Group go? ICE detention centers. And now we see ICE getting 150 billion, and we know most of that is going to go towards the detention centers. These are places that charge $5 a phone call, and then they pay $1 a day to their employees, which I can imagine, it's not just prison work, because that wouldn't be profitable. They're going to be manufacturing, they're going to be agricultural labor, they're going to do all of that, and then they have the gall to make them work all week, 5 days, to have one phone call. All of that. So you're paying them nothing because you know what they're going to spend it on. And you're going to give the worst living conditions imaginable, because not only are these people, do they not have rights, but they're immigrants. So they have less rights, even so, than even a prisoner does.
Yeah. And I think you've nailed it on the head. Like Whenever we see a societal problem, I think if we just look at who's profiting
Yeah.
from that problem, it reveals a lot of information.
Yeah.
And I think as we continue to privatize our judicial system, privatize our prisons, you need demand. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
corporations need more and more people to go into prisons, and the main driver for all of these corporations is to produce higher revenues for their shareholders.
Yeah.
And if we think that the prison system looks really bad right now,
Yeah.
when we are expecting people who are running our prisons to have 6% gangs or 8% gangs every single year, those gangs come from somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's coming from the government that is paying for beds
Yep.
that need to get filled. And the way you fill them is by criminalizing and sending more and more people to jail.
Yep.
And
And
I
that's
think
kind of why you
there's
have
so
some
many
of the
ways that we can see this.
you see some of the war of on drugs coming back. You have some cannabis laws in other states, and the hemp ban coming in. You see a regression on a lot of that because that used to be a big inflow of easy arrests and easy imprisonments because they were short-term stays, but they filled beds. They filled beds consistently, and I would say it was one of the lesser problematic class of people, drug users, to discriminate and exploit. The problem is now that you're doing this regressively is you already opened Pandora's box. Grandma likes smoking THC and CBD and having those oils. Your aunt, your uncles, those people that were nowhere near the war on drugs as it existed, 20 years ago, I'd say. Now you're going back on that. Well, you're going to start arresting and hurting a lot of normie people. These aren't just the punks and the gangsters that you can kind of get away with fucking with and not have any repercussions. No, you're going to get a lot of people that don't know the political news and that these things are now being illegalized and criminalized again. That's not going to, it's going to produce the numbers that they were expecting, right? You're going to get the arrests, you're going to fill the beds, but it's not going to be with the same people that were filling them 15, 20 years ago. And that's going to be a problem.
Yeah. And I think and we can close this section out, but it should be noted that we have not abolished slavery in the United States.
Yeah.
There's still the 13th Amendment abolished it in every single way except for the loophole that involuntary servitude as a punishment of crime is fine. So yes, as a society, I think we often think that we're doing such a great job, but when we outlawed slavery, we didn't do it. We just outlawed it for X people and then said, we still need to support our economy, and this is the mechanism we can do it.
This is the permissible manner that you can go about it and who you can exploit.
If you follow that trail, you can really see, to your point of the war on drugs, all of these different kind of mechanisms we've done and taken to ensure that we do have that workforce, that we do have enough people in our jail system to actually sustain this economy.
All right, next cast from Best Crypto Twits. Even high income earners are skipping meals. May as well call this the Greater Depression. Six-figure income earners are currently engaged in or considering side hustles, 61%, selling personal items, 53%, skipping meals, 41%, renting out all or part of their home, 41%, and resorting to debt consolidation or bankruptcy to stay financially afloat, per Fortune. Six-figure income earners? I mean, that goes back to what I was saying. If minimum wage had kept up with inflation, it would be at a six-figure range. And so I guess, they're going to be feeling the squeeze just as hard as, well, everyone on the bottom is just used to the squeeze. They're in a perpetual state of limbo. And they're paycheck to paycheck. They make ends meet however they can. They backslide into debt pretty often. We're used to that. I guess because I've not made six figures in, I don't think, 1 year of my life. I've had some decent paying jobs before, but ain't nothing like this. So to hear that they're feeling the squeeze, ooh, that's
Yeah. And I think we talk about affordability, but it continues beyond just like it's now capturing the middle class. Like we've fully eroded the middle class. And yeah, it's making its way up, and it just continues to be a problem. And this video, it's pretty short, but this is Trump talking about how great the economy is. And if this is not run on every single Democrat ad in
yes,
2026,
they will have failed.
they're trying to lose.
They're just trying to lose.
Pretty good.
But I do want to talk about the economy, sir, here at home, and I wonder what grade you would give
A+.
your economy. A plus.
Yeah, A plus 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 plus.
Well, it's interesting.
There's so many good. All right, yeah. This is gonna live rent free in my head. I didn't get the reference when you said it earlier in the show, but now it is A plus 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 plus. Just I can already picture like the Democrat ad going. It like starts fading an echo plus plus plus, and then it's like just showing all these different stats plus plus plus. You're just showing all these big food lines at the food pantry, all the SNAP benefits being cut, all the health premiums going up. It's such an easy ad. It writes itself, and this is why I didn't think Trump would have a third term around. I thought strategically and tactfully he was so bad at trying to empathize with his actual voters when it's his own failures. Like, he can't fail. He can only be perfect. He can only be the best all the time, the greatest of all time. And I'm sorry, you need a little bit of humility in your leadership. Like, I would say that's kind of the best trait that we see in very charismatic, like a Zoran Mamdani, right? He is very good at apologizing, at taking ownership and responsibility. And that's part of the charm. And Trump has 0% of that. He can't take responsibility or be held accountable for anything. He has to spin it. It's win, 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 deny, 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 any losses, anything bad. And I don't know how it keeps working, or how he's so insane that he keeps trying it.
I think he's not a good incumbent. Like, if he's able
But
to
I do
blame
wanna talk
others and say how much of a better job he would be doing, then like I think that's where he runs, and he does he's a good
Right.
candidate.
Right.
But yeah, when the
He's an
blame is
awful
on him, when
incumbent.
he's in power,
Yeah. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do with himself. Time for your annual reminder that according to A Christmas Carol, Bob Cratchit makes 15 shillings a week. Adjusted for inflation. Oh, God. This is like how much better did the serfs have it than we do now? Adjusted for inflation, that's $530 a week, $27K a year, or $13.50 an hour. This is about what I'm at. Most Americans on minimum wage earn less than a Dickinson allegory for destitution. Oh, man. I'm only
I just
a
loved it.
little bit better than this, but I'm feeling the destitution, I'll tell you. Oh,
I think the other thing, and I think we're going. I feel like history just continues to repeat itself. That I don't think either party, one, will ever fix the economy. And I think what we're going to be seeing is that Americans are going to be voting for the opposition party in the midterms and in the presidential years, and we're just going to continue to see this like
Swing back
flip
and
back
forth.
and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because I know you'll fully agree with this, but like the real thing that we need to fix is corporate greed and the hostile takeover that we've been seeing, and the perpetual
It's the
taking.
ratchet effect.
For,
It's the
yeah,
ratchet effect. So Republicans come, wipe out so much of the benefits that were made nominally gained or existed for decades, right? They come, they crash things. Democrats come, they soothe the feelings of people, and they allude to actually doing something, but nothing ever gets done by them. So you just keep ratcheting it harder and harder as it flips back and forth, and you won't have two-term of either party. I think we're in the hyper accelerated portion where it's just every 4 years completely flipping back and forth.
Yeah.
And it's not near as gradual as the 8 to 10, 15 years that it used to be. I would say going from 60s, 70s until the 2000s. I guess
Yeah,
Barack Obama would be the last example.
and we'll just see like one big bill get passed
You're right.
that the president can pass at the very beginning of his term, and then essentially will be a lame duck for the
Yep.
next 3 years.
Yeah.
But I know next we have housing as an investment.
Let's
This is
check
pretty.
this one out. The consequences of housing as a piggy bank. The fact we let corporations sit on them empty to keep their value says all you need to know about our priorities. Oh yeah, this is gonna be a good one. We just need some Georgism, bro. You just gotta tax the land. From the video, I've been saying for several years already that supply and demand don't make sense in the contemporary, financialized agenda. Because once you have a house as part of a collateral or part of an asset of an investment firm or bank, and then the housing has to always keep the value, right? I mean, no bank wants the housing to actually go down in value because, of course, they cannot lend as much or they go into problems such as 2008 financial crisis with Lehman Brothers and so forth. The main agenda that we're talking about when we talk about financialization is the idea that housing purpose, or the purpose of housing, which before the 80s used to be two houses, right? To have a roof above us, to safeguard us from the elements, etc., to live a life. It wasn't that the use was no longer or started not being the primary aspect of what housing was. And this is like really a radical shift, right? Like the purpose of housing today, as a consequence of course, all of these histories and previous histories, is mainly as an investment. And when you start seeing housing as an investment, you don't see it as something that people need or that is a priority. The priority for people to be in a house, and then you start seeing it as something that is just there to make money. Yeah. I think as a experienced 4-year realtor, I can tell you the investment firms are here. They keep trying to show numbers that says, oh, guys, investment firms were only like 10 to 20% of these purchases. Like, come on. And to that, I say, guys, they know how to hide their purchases. They know how to use proxies and use the quote unquote small mom and pop investor to shelter the wider economy from seeing how much they're actually acquiring. I'm actually in a great example. There was a pretty big, I think it was New York Times article, where an investment firm, I think it was Vanguard, they bought an entire neighborhood. So this whole starter home community, so we're not talking apartments, we're not talking anything that might be justified to be owned by, an asset manager such as them. Nope, we're talking regular old 3 to 5 bedroom starter homes, or mid-level, completely bought up. an entire neighborhood gone and off the market, just available for rent. And that is the you will own nothing and be happy mentality. And I'm sorry, when we give up ownership and we become completely priced out of that, which is the reality for more than 60% of Americans, they're never going to own anything. That's already their reality. But once you can get squeezed a whole lot more. There's so much more exploitation and profit to be made when you own everything, when everything must be rented from you. Then we're back to worse than feudal conditions. I would say wealth inequality is about at those levels as kings and lords between their peasants. But when you have the technology, when you have the data to you already have smart pricing is coming out, where Target is trying to experiment with no more price tags. We're going to look at how rich you are and we're going to charge you whatever we damn well please. And no, this is not a negotiation. You are not haggling with me like maybe was previously done in old timey markets. No. Or what you could do in India, something right now. No, no, no. This is, we're going to offer you this price. And I mean, what do I do if I'm a rich person? Do I just have poor people do my shopping all the time? Like, sorry, hey, here's $200. Like, you get the best prices at Target and I really want this stuff. Like, that's crazy that we're in. I think, had we talked about taxing that kind of tool, or maybe that was a different stream with someone else.
No, we did talk about that.
Yeah, a little bit.
I I like your optimism that you think the rich are going to be the ones that will be targeted with the higher prices.
Well, they are. Well, okay. Well, I
But
guess I mean relatively rich. So
yeah,
people more well off than the worst of us, right? They're all right. It's just another avenue that the even richer, the even more elite, because let's be honest, those elite aren't going to Target. If they
yeah,
are going to buy something from Target and they're aware of this price gauging, one, they don't care about the price gouge. They're like, what's a couple more dollars to me, a millionaire, billionaire, right? It's not it just like 30% sales tax is not going to be a concern for the ultra wealthy and rich. They literally can't spend their money fast enough to exhaust it, right? That's why taxing their income was so important, because we all relatively spend the same. Anyway, they're
yeah.
unconcerned, but erosion of the middle class you already talked about, that happens even faster. And this is another creative way that they've figured out to, all right, you have this well-paying job, but how can we, how can we parasite a little bit more of that value, but deliver nothing more to you than we were before? Like, that's crazy.
I think going back to the caster's original point, like
Mm,
in so many instances, and I think we've already brought this up a couple times in the show, but if you see a problem and then you just look at kind of what's
yeah,
driving that problem of
yeah,
like the purpose of housing is to house,
yeah,
to offer protection, to to be a
yeah,
place, a home for individuals. And then once we that shifted to be no, housing is now an investment,
yep,
then all of our kind of thinking around housing has shifted. And the
yeah,
same thing that we've kind of talked about in the previous, like earlier, is that originally the judicial system was there to have people pay their debt to society
mm-hmm,
and then to be able to
mm-hmm,
re-enter
mm-hmm,
society and be productive members. And then that shifted
yeah.
once it became the judicial system was a mechanism for to make more money.
Yeah, to exercise
And
power from the profitable and get more profits.
and we just as a society we just lose the purpose of these actual goods. And it's just such
Yeah,
a good I like this cast because it
yeah,
kind of emphasizes that we've lost that. It's no longer that's not the purpose. We're not building
yeah,
houses to house people anymore. We're building houses because they're either individuals' long-term investments that you're expecting it to go up.
Yeah.
I
You're
mean,
depending
housing,
on it to appreciate, really. A
yeah,
lot of
housing,
your, yeah,
it doesn't need to go up.
it
If
doesn't.
you bought a house for, if my parents bought, I think my parents bought their house in my hometown for, I think, $80,000. If they sold their house for $80,000 whenever they pass away, and
Mm-hmm.
if I would sell it for that much,
Yeah.
like it provided
Yeah.
the net value that you would think it should provide. I think right now it's worth 200,000.
Yeah.
So it's
Sounds
doubled
about
since they
right.
bought it. And it doesn't like it shouldn't we shouldn't be basing it and have the assumption that you buy a house and it's going to be this like big investment in long term. You buy a house because you need a home and
Yep.
you need to live somewhere.
And the
And
community needs people in those houses. Let's talk about what makes a house valuable is not the actual numbers, right? For those numbers to actually reflect something true about the market, then they would need to be occupied, right? You would have to have lower vacancy rates than what these investment firms are willing to do because they can control and manipulate enough of the market that it doesn't reflect how people actually feel about the housing. They're seen as the main drivers of this appreciation and the main benefactors of all that inflated pricing of houses. So if it were actually based on housing people, then the only factor, not because everyone thinks for you to own a home, for you to deserve it, you need to pay what it's worth. I think that is the worst calculation you can do. I think the only really relevant factor is, do the people in the community want you there? Are you vibing with that? Is a greater price factor that we don't have any solutions for. You're not, you have some intentional communities experimenting with that kind of stuff, but if we thought you get what I'm saying, if we thought of housing as housing people, then we wouldn't be concerned about price at all. We'd be concerned about vetting the right citizens, vetting the right people that are going to actually build the value that you want to see in your community. That doesn't just have to be, oh, I like you, I want to be your best friend and have dinner parties all the time. That could be one benefit of someone moving into a community, but it could also be, hey, he does a lot of political activism and our community is lacking in a lot of that activity. Jared, move in with us. Here's this house. That is kind of that's the end all be all to me, versus it's this very consumerist mentality. It's what can I get? What can it get back for me? Versus I think we should just be thinking about the people aspect, the relationship we have to where we live, not the transaction.
I think there's also lots of discussions on like whether or not housing is a right.
Mm.
And I think we can like go back and forth, like what is rights and what are you owed just as an American citizen. But I think when we
You're
have those
owed
discussions,
a house. I don't
I
think you're owed the house you want, right? Because I can think of that not being a net benefit or not being feasible for us to. We can't afford champagne for the few, but we can afford clean drinking water for all kind of mentality. So if you succeed and you make progress, you build value. All right, we've got other housing available, but a baseline 1 bedroom, 2, 3, depending on if you're a family or partnered, right? That I do believe. I do think people have a right to exist safely and securely somewhere.
yeah, I largely agree with that take. I think I don't know if it is kind of that quote unquote right,
Mm,
but a lot of these things, like I think it's just what society should strive for. We should
yeah.
strive for a society where like you just living in America, we have structured enough kind of your salary is high enough, we treat
Hmm.
housing as an investment, we do all these things that if you are kind of operating within what we have as a
Within the
societal
boundaries, yeah.
expectation,
Yep.
you would be able to receive housing.
Right.
And right now we don't have that
Hmm.
set up. And the same thing with like I do think healthcare is a
Yeah.
little bit more of a right, but like even in that, like if you're operating within these bounds that we think like you're contributing to society, you're a net positive, you should have access to healthcare.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, even if you're a net negative, I think you should have
Yeah, I
access
think
to healthcare. But
yeah.
I think a lot of these is like whether or not it's a right
Mm,
is missing kind of the actual discussion. It's that
yeah.
people who are doing everything right aren't able to secure it. And that should be at least at the bare minimum you're right.
Right.
Is that if you're checking all these boxes, if you're going to your
That
job,
should be
if
your
you're
expectation. Like
yeah,
we should we are failing as a society. And I think flipping it around instead of focused on the individual, there's so thinking of the people that are homeless now and thinking of their right to housing, right? And safety and security. One, I can think of myself being in their shoes. So if I advocate for them now, that might be me in their situation later.
yeah,
That's a benefit for that I don't think a lot of people consider. They imagine themselves to be temporarily embarrassed millionaires, but it's not even conceivably possible that they'll end up like them. I think you need to think of that for yourself. You need to think about it, your kids being in that situation, your parents or grandparents being in that situation. There's gonna be, we've seen it across decades of how easy and precarious our standards of living are and how quickly things can devolve. So let's have a safety net that catches you and doesn't let you fall all the way to the floor, because the more, and this is where the collective can kind of think to its own benefit rather than, oh, well, why should this freeloader get a free room or whatever? I had to work for hold on. The more people hitting that floor and hitting it hard means more crime. It means more destitution and just bad vibes for the whole, bad look to the whole community. And it creates more low trust in your environment. If everyone around you is scraping by in disparate conditions, that is going to lower your quality of life. No matter how much income you have, no matter how rich and elite your standards are, you're still going to encounter these people. Would you rather encounter them in a healthy position in life with their material conditions met, or would you rather them be in this kind of savage, off-grid, unsustainable, bestial manner of living and expect that they're not going to act barbaric or animalistic when they try to get their needs met, when they rob your home, they rob places of businesses, they do drugs out in the open, all those things that you don't want? Unfortunately, the only solution is going to be providing for them. This has been another, as well as
yeah,
affordability, consistent theme that I think crosses all political boundaries, right? Is you can deal with the problem now and build for long-term sustainability and solve for that way, or you can just short-term try to profit on it, exacerbate the problem slowly and surely over time, but at least someone's profiting off of it. We need to sacrifice in the now to gain in the future. This is not a confusing or alien concept to people, but we have to forego our instincts to kind of demean or hate or unappreciate the benefit that maybe someone in these are people in destitution. Like, I don't know why it is the constant, like, people around me conservative talking point that just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, blah blah. I'm like, man, y'all give so much goddamn socialization and subsidization to private, elite, wealthy as hell corporations, but as soon as the conversation shifts to a massive amount of impoverished people, now, oh, wait, whoa, what are they doing to earn that? And I'm like, well, what did the corporations do to earn anything they've been given? And frankly, everything we have given them, haven't they just turned it around and used it against us? Like, I would rather us try to help ourselves than keep doing how we are doing things.
Yeah, I think there's like two things I want to touch on that you said. One, I think like in crypto we have the saying that like we're gonna make it.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think it's like the same thing as like the American dream of like you're gonna
yeah,
make it.
yeah,
But in all actuality, and I know this like probably sounds anti-crypto, but like most likely you have a higher likelihood that you're not gonna make it.
yeah,
You have a higher chance that you're gonna be homeless
yeah,
than you are that you're gonna be a millionaire.
exactly.
And and another thing just that I think I want to emphasize is that it really feels like these conversations of like housing is a right or healthcare is a right or X, Y, and Z, we need these like government like safety net programs. The best way to shut us up and like to say that we like for us just to agree that we don't need those programs is if we could just afford all of those things. Like if
Yeah,
you are
right,
making
right.
minimum wage and you can afford housing, you can afford healthcare, you can afford X, Y, and Z, you can afford
Hmm.
food so you don't have to be on Snap. You can
Yeah,
you can afford everything, then
yeah,
you're not going to have this huge populace that's saying X thing is a right
right.
because you already have it and they're
Yeah.
not going to complain, they're not going to ask for it.
And
So
my
I think like
response
that
would
is some
almost be that, okay, you as the capitalist, y'all have been given the opportunity. You've had decades to make life affordable and give the solutions and to dictate, but y'all have mishandled it. You've fumbled the ball, and it feels like we're finally at that breaking point where we're rediscovering those solutions we used to use prior to the 1960s were as high as a 90% progressive income tax. So if we go back to when things were going pretty swimmingly, it looks antithetical to the neoliberalism we've had for since the 80s. It feels like just a slow decline, band-aid solutions, appeasement, and just biding time, kicking the can down the road, and just trying to soothe and assuage feelings and, deliver copium messages. And that's all they have for us while they rob us blind. And I think people are finally starting to ask the crucial questions on, hey, wait, do we even have to put up with you doing this? Like, what are the mechanisms of power we can exercise to start turning things around on you? That seems to be the populist message: is benefit us at any cost, because you guys have cost us everything. You corporations, all of you at the levers of power have cost us everything. So we don't care how feasible the solution sounds. As long as you're telling me how you'll benefit us, and tell me it's going to be at the cost of corporations, I'll be happy. If you're going to raise the tax rates on them, great. But if you can at least talk about, hey, this is the money we're giving here. I'm redirecting that now over here. This is how I'm paying for this solution. So no to this corporate subsidy, yes to this community public improvement project.
you know I think we're at the hour and a half
We're a little
on
bit
this.
over
So
that.
yeah,
We got
I think we can wrap up with this last question or last post by Perp. Him sharing the unusual whales that the Senate has rejected the both proposed healthcare bills. So really, what the Dems were fighting for, that the ACA subsidies did not go away. It looks very likely, unless for some surprising way the Republicans come up with a new plan or just pass the ACA subsidies before they expire at the end of this year. I don't see it happening, but if you want to wager on whether or not that will happen, it's in Polycast.
It's in Polycast. All right. What was this last one? How many years has it been since the Republicans tried to repeal the? Oh, so same thing. Same thing.
Yeah, they still don't have a plan. I mean, Trump has had concepts of a plan since 2020
Yeah.
or 2016. I don't know when he said that he had
Yeah.
concepts. I think the issue is that, I mean, this always, I feel like we are saying the same thing over and over and over. But like, the issue is that people are profiting off of this current system. Health insurance companies are making record profits. Big Pharma is making record profits. And the way to fix healthcare overall is that we are going to have to reevaluate
Yeah.
what the end goal is. Is the goal to return profits to your shareholders, or is the goal to provide healthcare?
Exactly.
And I don't think either of, like, honestly, either party
Yeah.
wants to kind of have that discussion that the goal should be to provide healthcare. And that's why I don't think the Republicans are going to come up with a good plan, because all of their lobbyists that are speaking to them, or the vast majority of them, are being funded by these corporations whose end goal is profiteering,
Yep.
not providing healthcare.
Yep. I think that wraps it up for me. Easy
Yep.
in crypto, you're a little bit late. We are now ending the show, but thanks for stopping by. Anyone left in the chat? I don't see very many viewers there. We'll reevaluate how House went, but the recording will still be uploaded to YouTube on the playlist, because I think we get a lot more action in the within the politics community on the recording than we do on the lives. But we just need to be better about scheduling and announcing it. Well, one day, maybe when we hit double digits, we'll start advertising the show properly.
January. Everything will be
January.
better in January. Everything else,
better.
until then, it's just a practice session.
Exactly. We're just experimenting. We're just fucking around, finding out on all these different live streaming platforms.
So I think we're good for a show next week.
Cool.
If you're good for it, so it'll be 12 Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, for the 9th episode of the Politics Show, and then we'll be off until I think the first or second week in January.
Perfect. Yeah, maybe we'll try to
promote it.
shoot for January 6th. We could do just a politics token launch stream.
Cool.
All right.
Well, thanks everyone again for watching, tuning in, and then for continuing to cast into the channel, because we're using all of your casts for these discussions.
Yep. You help make the show happen with your casting, and that's a beautiful relationship. There's no tokenomics at all. We're just building value, and I think that's just going to be one of the avenues, one of the revenue streams that makes the Politics Network special. But we'll catch you next week. Thanks for stopping by, and bye-bye. Bye, Buster. Bye, Politics Token. It's not available yet, but it will be.